on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader.
Bernie, AOC, Mandani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're democratic socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet. I don't think people realize we already have a lot of socialism. Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are...
Bill Maher has taken aim at AOC, and the criticism is intense. He was never particularly supportive of the New York Congresswoman when she first entered the political scene, and her recent public remarks, combined with her brand of woke politics, haven't changed his view. On multiple segments of his show Real Time with Bill Maher, the outspoken comedian has gone after AOC in a way that's sharp, fiery, and impossible to ignore. Let's dive right into it.
Carville knew how to win, and he blamed the Democratic losses this November 2nd on stupid wokeness, to which AOC fired back that wokeness is a term almost exclusively used by older people these days. So that should tell you all you need to know. What? This is a term folks like you brought out very recently and had been proudly displaying at every march since. Just last year, The Guardian declared woke the word of our era. I guess they didn't get the memo from them.
AOC is often seen as strongly aligned with woke politics, but critics argue she has become increasingly disconnected from everyday concerns. She once embraced the term woke proudly, wearing it as a badge of honor at rallies and public events. However, as political sentiment has shifted, the label has taken on more negative connotations among critics who associate it with being out of touch. Now, AOC appears to be softening her stance and distancing herself from the same ideology she once championed. Bill Maher, however, isn't convinced. On his show, he openly challenges her, calling out what he sees as contradictions in her messaging.
Never missing an opportunity to remind voters how lame and clueless and hopelessly uncool they are, especially since those are the ones who actually vote. But okay, fine. What word would you like us to use for the plainly insane excesses of the left that are not liberalism, but something completely different? Because you can't have that word liberal from us and think it should cover things like canceling Lincoln and teaching third graders their oppressors. That's all your new thing.
This direct approach is exactly why many people are drawn to Maher. He doesn't sugarcoat his opinions or hide behind cautious language. He raises a key question. If AOC is stepping away from the term woke, then what should we call the ideas associated with it? Over the years, several controversial positions have entered mainstream debate, issues that many people struggle to accept. Critics often point to debates around gender identity, youth decision-making, and participation in sports as defining features of what they call woke culture. Maher's argument is simple. Rebranding doesn't change the underlying issues, and people will continue to question them.
A new poll reporting how much Latinos despise the woke term Latinx. It's about as popular with them as a reboot of Speedy Gonzales. Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language...
Maher also reflects on the push for terms like Latinx, which were promoted by some liberal figures, including AOC and Gavin Newsom. The term was presented as inclusive, but many within the Latino community rejected it from the beginning. Surveys and public reactions showed that most people it was meant to represent didn't identify with it. Despite this, the push continued, leading to criticism that activists were speaking over the very communities they claimed to support. Eventually, backlash forced some politicians to step back from using the term. While AOC defended it as part of evolving language, many voters saw that response as dismissive, which contributed to a decline in trust.
More of them now than ever are identifying as Republican. So are Asian Americans, whose support for Democrats is down 16 points since the last election. A lot of that is because, in the name of achieving equity in schools, Democrats in deep blue cities have made it a mission to eliminate the advanced programs at which Asian kids excel. Asian parents said, okay, I wish all kids well, not a racist, but I need someone who acts like my lawyer. If you're a parent and wanted schools to reopen a lot sooner than they did after COVID shutdowns, or think maybe your kid is getting a bad education, partly because it's nearly impossible to fire a lousy teacher, yeah, you're going to say, congratulations, teachers, you got yourself a good lawyer. The Democratic Party's always got your back, 100%. But I've noticed my kid is kind of an idiot.
Maher argues that this kind of disconnect is one reason some Asian and Latino voters have begun shifting toward the Republican Party. In his view, it's driven by frustration rather than sudden political realignment. Many voters feel they're being talked down to and are tired of symbolic gestures that don't improve their daily lives. Instead, they prioritize practical issues like education, economic stability, and public safety. Maher suggests that when politicians focus too heavily on ideological trends instead of real-world concerns, they risk alienating the very people they aim to represent.
And for 2028 in the Democratic primary.
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay? But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand, too. Both parties lost in the last election. Trump won, okay? And I don't know if that's going to transfer.
He also touches on broader political dynamics, noting that even popular figures like AOC and Bernie Sanders, despite drawing large, enthusiastic crowds, may not translate that energy into actual votes. Large rallies and strong online support can create the appearance of momentum, but elections are ultimately decided by broader appeal. Past elections have shown that enthusiasm alone isn't enough. Success requires messaging and policies that resonate with a wide range of voters.
Jason, and then Vance and Junior will fight it out for that crowd.
You're AOC and Bernie, and who's at the top of the ticket?
They're going to lead right now.
Who's at the top of that ticket, Kevin? Because if it's not Bernie, he's going to be vice president and then wait his turn.
No, it would be. Bernie's been running each time. I'm just saying who's in the lead right now. I don't think that's how it ends up.
But big crowds don't necessarily mean who's the right candidate. You know, when I started,
but it drives where the ideas are going to go. It's going to drive the money for a while.
It doesn't make him the winner.
It doesn't make him the winner. You'll have to wait till you get 2 years out. And then you'll start seeing these governors that start showing solutions. You also have to know, what is the issue going to be? Are we going to have a foreign policy issue? Are we going to have an economic issue? And who's been the best in leading in that? But right now, for the Democrats, who's going to lead for the next 2 years? The money's going to... AOC outraised everybody in the House.
And it's all small.
Another key point raised is that money alone doesn't guarantee victory. Campaigns can raise massive funds and dominate headlines, but that doesn't ensure success at the ballot box. Voters are not simply influenced by big budgets or flashy campaigns. They're looking for authenticity and clear, relatable policies. Without that connection, even well-funded campaigns can fail when it matters most.
Donnie are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're democratic socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet. I don't think people realize we already have a lot of socialism. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, food stamps, veterans benefits, Pell Grants, COVID-era payments, farm subsidies, disability payments, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, corporate bailouts, and the jobs program that is building weapons the Pentagon doesn't even want.
Also highlights the distinction between mainstream Democrats and democratic socialists like AOC. While they operate within the same party, their ideological differences can be significant. Democratic socialism often calls for a larger role of government in economic and social policies, which can make some voters uneasy. Critics argue that this ideological divide can create challenges in appealing to moderate voters, especially in national elections.
This concept, and radical economic policy is always ineluctably married to radical social policy. Their platform, for example, calls for completely open borders. They're for what Biden was doing, but more. You think you're going to win an election on that? This just seems like more extremism at a time when Americans are begging both parties, please, could just one of you act normal?
From Maher's perspective, AOC's political path becomes more difficult if she continues leaning into positions that critics label as too far left. While these ideas may energize a passionate base, they can also push away moderate voters who often decide elections. Policies associated with expanded public benefits or government-funded programs are frequently cited as examples that shape public perception. Maher's argument is that perception, fair or not, plays a crucial role in determining election outcomes.
In the streets, either MAGA's crypto crony capitalism or city-run grocery stores. No, I don't want that. I want a Democrat who reassures me if you like your Whole Foods, you can keep your Whole Foods.
And Maher's broader message is that elections are not won on ideology alone. They depend on trust, perception, and the ability to connect with everyday voters. While figures like AOC may inspire strong support within certain groups, that energy doesn't always translate into widespread appeal. Voters increasingly value stability, practical solutions, and policies that directly impact their lives. Without that balance, political momentum, funding, and media attention may not be enough to secure